there below, being pursued by the Los Angeles Police Department. We're hearing the driver and 2 other suspects. Very busy. You see the students there on the corner there making a southbound turn again, staying in the same neighborhood. So possibly he's connected to this neighborhood. He knows this neighborhood well, and he's crossing over 46th Street. Now, a lot of heavy traffic because this is when school gets into session here. Up on the curb, narrowly missing the van, almost overturning there, taking that turn really tight. This is really challenging for officers because these streets are narrow. There's parking on both sides. There are 2 lanes, and there's a lot of traffic this time of morning with schools just starting out on this very busy Thursday morning here. Primarily staying on the numbered streets here, Steve. That's right, because they do have an airship up. The LAPD does have a helicopter now, so they are going to be able to track him by the air. But across the center divider there, ongoing against oncoming traffic, making a turn now back towards the east here. And LAPD, I count at least 6 units traveling behind him, and they're trying to set up some sort of traffic control around the neighborhood as well, being that he's primarily staying in the same area. Why he's not giving up? He thinks he can get away. He doesn't want to, and there's a lot of LAPD units trying to track this guy. And it looks like no front end damage. It appeared for a second there the front end of that Range Rover may have been damaged, but that's not the case. Now traveling back southbound here through South LA. He's been staying between about 48th and 52nd Street. The numbered streets running east-west here through South LA. The north-south streets, the majors are Broadway, Main, Avalon, and Central. Oh, almost missing that guy. Look at him. That was really close. Yeah, and this the one passenger. Yeah, he certainly did. He just looked out the window there, and again, it's possible because he's staying in this neighborhood. He's trying to make contact with someone or stay close to an area that he knows. We'll widen out, and we'll see if police are still. Yep, they still are tracking. And this, I'm surprised we haven't seen an accident yet. The way that he's driving, trying to evade the Los Angeles Police Department against oncoming traffic. Now heading back down a numbered street westbound towards the 110 freeway. 3 people. There's a driver and the driver and then 2 passengers. That's what we heard. And we did hear initially before we arrived on scene here, Stephen Araxia, that one of the individuals did throw a weapon out. Going across the intersection here, yeah, this is such a dangerous situation. And when he gets a chance, he really speeds up. But in these areas of the numbered streets, back on a numbered street again, making his way westbound here through South Los Angeles. And it's the Los Angeles Police Department pursuing the driver and the 2 suspects who were believed to be armed. There's the 110 Harbor Freeway, so crossing over now towards the west side of the 110 freeway and turning left on this frontage road of the 110 Harbor Freeway, heading south through South LA. And he was on the west side of the freeway for a while, but then he came across the freeway and was on the east side of the 110 freeway. The Harbor Freeway there you see on the bottom of your screen. We'll try to get a better picture of him here. And there will be an option for him to get on the freeway, so we'll see if he chooses to do that. Picking up speed there quite a bit now that this area isn't quite as busy as it was on the east side of the 110 freeway where we saw all those schools and the narrow streets there, making a continued southbound ride here on this frontage road. And again, this is right up against the 110 Harbor Freeway here, and there will be an on-ramp here. I believe it's at Manchester that he may be able to get on. There's a LAPD SUV trailing him just behind him here. Let's see what he does here, if he's going to make a right turn. Yes, making a right turn here, so heading west here. And we're in LAX airspace as of right now, and we're going to track him as far as we can. But if we have to get closer to LAX, we may have to pull off this just a bit. But he's continuing westbound here. He's going right through stoplights and stop signs here. He almost hit a pedestrian, a bicyclist as well. As of right now, we're not hearing anybody been hit. Here's a little precarious situation with a trash truck, and that SUV did the right thing. He pulled around there. He saw what was coming, and that's what you need to do. If you're ever in a situation like this where you see something unusual, pull off to the right. Give the officers plenty of room. Don't try to be a hero. That's Hoover Street right there. And he made his way across Hoover and continuing westbound, I would say probably about 56th Street this would be, close to Manchester, through South LA. The LAPD helicopter is up over this as well. He's making a left turn into a driveway now. Let's see what happens. We'll get on the north side of this. This is a very dangerous situation. The adrenaline's high. LAPD is setting up. There's a captain there telling him exactly what to do. It looks like he is going to give up. There's the driver of the Range Rover there. And again, we heard that there were 2 other suspects, passengers inside that car as well. He's backing up. It does appear he's doing what he's told. Now, typically what they do is they order each individual out one at a time. But sometimes that might be different. But bottom line, they want the suspects' backs to them with their hands up. And it looks like they are doing what they're told. He has something in his hand. He's agitated. The guy in the street's agitated, too. He's not. That guy looks like he's on his phone. The one passenger, Stephen Araxia. Stephen Araxia. He's agitated and he's on his phone. The guy and the. Okay, come on. Hey, look at him. He's facing. He's not doing. Guys, look at the one passenger facing the officer there, clearly agitated. He was holding his phone, I believe, and texting, and he is not doing what he's being told right now. He should be laid flat out, arms and legs spread. He's motioning towards the officers, looking directly at them, clearly not doing what he's being told. That was one of the passengers inside. And again, we had heard, too, that there was a driver and 2 passengers. But at this point, we're just seeing the 2 individuals, and then the one now is laying flat down again. But for a while there, it appears from our vantage point it is, but the driver, we're shooting from a distance and looking at a really small monitor here. What we'll be able to determine, it would be a female officer who would be the individual who would frisk any female suspects. But no, it looks like both suspects are males. And now they're clearing the car, making sure there's nobody else inside. Tinted windows there. So we saw the 4 fingers, code 4. So the automobile is clear. So there was just the driver and the passenger there who were being pursued by the Los Angeles Police Department. But we did have initial reports that one of those 2 individuals did throw a weapon out during this pursuit through South LA. All right. Did KTLA get out of their commercial early? It had to have been. Good. Perfect. Good. As long as they didn't beat us. All right. All right, cool. He's got his lanyard with his, one guy's got a lanyard with his, work badge on. All right, let's get the street, Vince. I got to think it's 56 or that's Hoover, yeah. 57th, so it's got to be 57th. Yeah. Okay. You tell me. I mean, you know. Okay, coming back to us on. We'll widen out. We'll show the Harbor Freeway here as well.
And for those of you just joining us, we are looking at the aftermath of a police chase that went through South Los Angeles. We watched as this white SUV evaded police, turning on different streets in South LA before turning into a driveway. There were 2 suspects inside the vehicle. Both of them have since surrendered.
That's right, just a driver and one
We
passenger,
watched as they
both taken
exited
into
the
custody by
vehicle,
Los Angeles Police
dropped to the
Department. We'll wind
ground.
out, this scene will be winding down shortly on 57th Street, just to the west
and
of
were
Rover
arrested
in South
by
LA. On the
LAPD. You can
westbound
see
side
many
of the
LAPD
110
units
freeway. We'll show you
responded to
that.
the scene
Little update
in
on your
South
commute
LA
on
around
this
57th
Thursday
Street and
morning. A
Hoover
dry
Street.
commute, as
It looks
Maria
like
said,
the
but
chopper is
4
now
hours from
leaving
now,
the scene, so this
think
will
ahead,
wrap up our
you might
police
wanna,
chase coverage out of Los
wake up a
Angeles.
little earlier
We
tonight,
appreciate
wake up a little earlier
anyone
so you can
and
get on the
everyone
road earlier,
tuning
because
in
it could be real messy
for
with
our
that rain moving
coverage.
through. Busy here on the 110 Harbor Freeway.
If you're new
The
to our
northbound
channel,
side of the
please
110
feel
freeway
free to
coming
hit
towards
the
us away from
subscribe button on
105
YouTube. And if
up
you're
from
watching
South
on
LA.
Facebook
That's a busy
and want to
side
stay
heading into
posted on all
downtown
sorts of
LA.
breaking
Southbound
news,
side
make
is
sure to
loaded
hit
up
that
as well.
like
You can
button on
express
Facebook.
lanes
That way
going
you'll
down
know
our
whenever
road.
we
A bit
go
busy
live
right
with
now.
breaking
We'll
news
pan the
such as a
camera off to the
police
left and
chase
show you
like
the
this.
beautiful morning sky here over Southern California as well, as that tropical moisture in advance of that low pressure system off the coast moves towards Southern California. Back to you in the studio. I don't know. That's all right.
We'll be back with more news now at 9 o'clock
All right.
on fox10phoenix.com.
News to bring to you coming out of Northeast Harris County. This is a guy on the run. You were looking at live pictures. He just crashed his car, and now he is in a foot chase with police. This is after a high-speed chase through the Northeast Harris County area. Live pictures here, and there is the officer just about rear-ending him there. His hands are up. He's given up. He knows it's time, and there he goes to the ground with police officers on his back, guns drawn. And this thing has come to a quick end, a very quick end.
Andy Bass is in Sky HD now. Andy, what can you tell us? You've been following this for a while.
Yeah, we have, guys, and yeah, as you guys just mentioned, he just cracked up into another side street car that was coming northbound on that street. Not too sure exactly what happened there. Then he took off running eastbound towards the Beltway, and obviously you just saw the aftermath of it. We were, covering him for like the last 5 minutes in the northeast quadrant of Beltway 8 and I-10, and that's basically where we caught up with him. Not too sure exactly what he was running for, but they've been trying to track this guy for at least the last 30 minutes. They did have a tracker in that vehicle that he did crack up in, that silver pickup truck did have a tracker in it. They tracked him to a house, and then when we arrived on scene, that's when he took off running through this subdivision here. I'll give you a little bit of perspective. We're just east of Beltway 8 and just north of I-10. and I'm actually being asked to move to go back to the impact of there. So I'm going to peel off this and just go back to the impact of the crash of where it happened. And I'm just going to go back a little bit. And there's the crack. There's the car at the bottom of your screen. That's the one that he hit. And there's the pickup truck. And I believe that the passenger was thrown from that vehicle. I'm going to just keep a wide look because I'm not too sure exactly what is happening down there. But you can see one person is on the ground, and we got. They pulled him out of there, according to Mike, my pilot. They pulled him out of that vehicle.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can see pretty much all the police activity down there as well. That Lincoln Continental, that white Lincoln Continental at the top of your screen, was the other vehicle that was involved in this accident scene. He was traveling, the pickup truck was traveling eastbound along that little side street. The Continental was traveling northbound along the main street. Still trying to get those streets paired out for you guys. But yeah, I believe the passenger was ejected from that vehicle while officers were in pursuit for him. And it was a massive crash, I can tell you, from Sky Eye.
Yeah, wow, we missed that crash, but I know you were up there in Sky Eye. I know you were looking at it at the time. That crash, of course, he couldn't use the vehicle anymore. Let's hope that passenger of that vehicle, or that he was in the other vehicle that was hit, right? He wasn't a passenger. He was the person driving?
It was no. I believe the person that's driving was the one that took off. I believe the passenger of the pickup truck was thrown from there. As far as I know, it was very hard. It happened really quickly. He might have been dragged out of there by the officers. Not too sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the actual driver, the suspect, of course, that was the one who was running down the street, and we saw that. We saw him being captured and now handcuffs on and in the back of a squad car. But what a chase this was! I mean, it overall they were tracking him, but it didn't last actually the chase that long, right?
No, not. I mean, they had another car, believe it or not, an I-10 in the belt, and they pulled the driver out of that one, but it was the wrong driver. The plate did not match. Then they got the tracker of this vehicle, of this pickup truck, and they tracked him to the northeast corner, or basically of I-10 and Beltway 8 East. And that's when they picked him up in this neighborhood, and then they saw him running, and that's when we joined the chase, Art. And when we got on it, obviously he was just going through this neighborhood right here below us. He was, going pretty fast. I'd say anywhere between 40 to 50 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, when he was heading eastbound on this little side street, and that Continental was heading northbound on the main street, and that's when basically the crash happened. Did see the driver take off on there. He ran about 4 blocks east on that little side street, and then you saw the rest of it.
And just a horrific crash, and we will have a video of some of that chase coming up in just a few minutes. Andy Bass is over that. In fact, here's that video there. This is just moments before that terrible crash. Whoa. As that person T-boned that suspect, then running off down one of the side streets. And after that crash, he running from that pickup truck, and you will be able to see Houston police, or just police in general, and you see the little dog there running behind him first, and then you'll see a police car coming up on another side street, coming back, almost running into that suspect, stopping just before then. I believe he even lost his shoe there. He held his hands up, and then he was subdued and arrested by police. Boy, and your heart certainly goes out to the driver of the other vehicle involved in this, the driver, the passenger. This is just horrific.
Yeah, just awful to see this type of thing take place. And you're looking again at the crash site. That, again, we're going to look at the crash actually when it happened. This is the pickup truck that's running, and that was the hit. And then we're breaking away from that because people were thrown from the vehicle as a result of that crash. And there's the suspect on the run. This is the one police were chasing in that pickup truck. And watch there's the little white dog chasing him. And then you have the officer in the squad car just really trying to scare him. And that's the protocol for this type of thing. You run up to him like that, and you kind of scare the guy, and he kind of gives up and realizes, you know what? It's done. I'm not going to be able to outrun these guys. There he goes to the ground. He's guns drawn, of course, immediately cuffed. He's now placed behind a vehicle in the squad car. But now look at the other officer. He's taking guard here with his gun drawn and sort of walking around the area, making sure that nobody else gets involved in this. But we wonder what he's running for. Yeah. Clearly, police were after him for a certain reason, and we're going to find out much more about that this afternoon, and then bringing it to you on Eyewitness News 4, 5, and 6.
And we want to go back to Andy Bass. Andy, you know, Art mentioned something that we all are wondering right now. We don't know at this point, right, Andy, why this suspect was running from police in the first place.
No, not at all. That detail's still trying to be sorted out in the newsroom, guys, but I do have some more information. We're at the corner. The intersection that they cracked up is at Nancy Rose and Gainesville, and the suspect was running eastbound on Gainesville, and that's when the HPD officers got him. So in the neighborhood around Beltway 8 and I-10, Nancy Rose and Gainesville is where this cracked up. But the news desk is still trying to answer your question, the news desk is still trying to figure out exactly why this guy was running, but they did tag him, and that's when they located him inside this development, inside this neighborhood, and obviously he knew he was going to get arrested.
Now, Andy, I want to explain to some folks here of when we show the crash, we're showing the impact, but we're not showing the continuation of that crash. And there are reasons for that. You and Sky Eye, you were able to see, now there's a reason here you're only going to see a portion of that crash, at least the impact. From that crash, after that, the passenger in the other vehicle that was hit, he was thrown or she was thrown from that vehicle. Is that correct?
I believe so, Art. I mean, it happened so quickly, and obviously once the suspect started to run down eastbound Gainesville,
look at that. That
that's
is
when
a
I peeled
hard
off
hit,
of that.
and you see that. And when we froze that video there, and we're looking at that video, Andy, and we've looked at it a couple of times, but on impact, wow, that is a hard hit.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to believe that they were traveling at least, you know, the pickup truck was traveling at least 50 miles an hour. The other one probably doing 30, 25 miles an hour inside the neighborhood. All right, and yeah, that crash, I mean, immediately the heart just sank for the person in the Continental. And, you know, don't know if that suspect in the passenger vehicle of the pickup truck was pulled out by HPD or if he was thrown from there. You know, I'm still trying to figure that one out. Like I said, playing it back in my mind over the last 5 minutes, it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and Andy, you and I and Art, we've seen so many of these chases that end this way, and it's certainly your heart just goes out to the person involved, the person who has no idea what's happening. They had no idea that a chase was going on, and a high-speed chase on these small streets in a neighborhood. Just your heart goes out to that person.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right,
covering cases.
Yeah, Andy, my apologies for interrupting. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but we will have continuing coverage on this. We're streaming this on abc13.com. Just log it on there. You can watch the video there. We will have replays, of course, of that impact of that crash, and then the suspect on the run trying to create a foot chase, but eventually caught. And there again, the crash scene. We're going to have much more on Eyewitness News at 4, 5, and 6, and online, abc13.com. Thanks for joining us.
The names of the suspects have not been released. Neither is the name of that innocent driver. All three, again, non-life-threatening injuries. The two suspects will be charged with evading arrest and aggravated robbery. In Cloverleaf, Deborah Wrigley, 13 Eyewitness News.